My good people, my good people. Hello, world. Welcome back to the show that's hot with your boy, Rob Scott. This is Robs2Cents. Happy New Year, everybody. Hope everybody enjoyed the holidays. I hope people who had a chance to take a break from work, got some relaxation done, got your mind recharged, refocused, ready to knock out your goals for 2021. I know I am. Man, we had a hell of a 2020, man. If we look back and we recap some of the things that happened in 2020, we had the Rona, we had, Kobe passing away, RIP to my boy. Uh, we saw some greats pass away, like legendary Georgetown coach John Thompson. We saw I can't remember, did David Stern? No, he passed at the end of 2019. I want to say so. We got some stimuluses. People bettered their financial situations. Hopefully, uh, just a lot of crazy things happened in 2020, and we made it, y'all. So you're strong. You can survive, and in some instances, some people can thrive through heartache and pain. Um, I want to give a shout out to all those people who've lost people in this pandemic, or people who just lost people. Period. Just know that you're not alone. You have people here with you. I know some friend of mine's lost some people. It's a friend of my wife's lost some people. Lost some kids. So um, my thoughts and prayers are with everybody who suffered through 2020. But if you're here in 2021, there's a plan for you. And I want you to know that those people that you lost will always be with you to help you succeed in your plan until you guys meet again. As you know, we just lost Pat Patterson. We lost John Huber. So we've lost some people in 2020. So just know that, it's tough to say, but life does continue to go on, and that your support system and your family, friends, and loved ones are here with you in those times of need, in those times of comfort. But also some great things happen in 2020 as well. We saw people create businesses. We saw, like myself, people start to really realize that time is short and time is precious and time is something that you can't get back. And people started to put more work and effort into their passions. When I clock out of work, I come home and I clock back into my passion, because this right here is what I want to do. And speaking of somebody that, that I personally know has put more time and effort into their passion, I want to give a shout out to, one of my good best friends. Her name is Shay Johnson, but her real name is Ashay. Sorry, Shay. I know you don't like people to know that, but I want you guys to visit her Facebook page. I'm going to have her name, Facebook page, in the description of this video. Ashay Johnson, captured by AJ Photography, for all those people who want to hold on to those precious moments like graduation day, family photos, weddings, all of the above. Holla at my girl. She going to hook you up. Captured by AJ. Told I was going to give her a shout out, because like you guys support me, I like to support people. And that's what this thing is about. We all need to help each other out, because like I said in the last video, it's enough for everybody to win. It's enough for everybody to eat. In the words of my boy A Boogie, everybody eats, B. But I just like to thank you guys for your continued support, your continued comments and kind words when sometimes I feel overwhelmed and I feel like, man, it's not moving fast enough, or people don't like what I have to say. I always have somebody that either sends me an inspirational message like my sister did earlier, or I have people that comment that, man, you're gonna make it big, or just overall interaction, from my loyal supporters. I do truly appreciate you. I try to make it my business to comment to everybody, because I like to keep the sports conversation going. And that's what this is. This is Robs2Cents. This is the sports show. I got so much in store for 2021. I plan on getting better. I'm going to get a better backdrop. I got some plans for this show. Hopefully one day you guys see me on ESPN and Fox Sports Net, not just joining the show, but hosting the show and hosting my own show. Because as long as sports is going on, I'm going to have a lot to say. And that brings me to what a weekend we had in professional sports. We saw some great NFL games. We saw some questionable decisions. Philadelphia, shame on you. That's just a predecessor. That's just a precursor, because what you did was very shameful. And I got a new segment for you guys that I'm going to end the show with. Hope you guys enjoy this show. Let's get right into episode 9 of Robs2Cents. And also shout out to those who watched my live show yesterday on Facebook. Don't have a set schedule yet on when I will continue to do live shows, but I want you to know we working over here, baby. Robs2Cents. Let's get right into the action. We look at the games on Sunday. Had a lot of big games in the NFL this past Sunday. A lot of teams were fighting for their playoff lives this past Sunday. And I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I was only wrong on one team not making the playoffs, and that was the Miami Dolphins, as the Indianapolis Colts were able to ease their way on in there. And we saw Miami lose. Colts won, and Colts received that last playoff spot within the AFC. But my attention first is going to bring me to the NFC, because we had a champion crown. Now, I know I picked Washington when I did my predictions on who will win the NFC East and who will move on to capture that playoff berth. And I was right, y'all. Washington was able to pull it through. They got a little help. That's an understatement. And to the New York Giant fans, I'm sorry that you guys had to witness that. But my prediction was accurate. The Washington football team claimed the NFC East crown. The first game we saw on Sunday from the NFC East division race was the Cowboys and the New York Giants. Now, we know that Dallas had been on a little winning streak coming in on a 3-game winning streak, and were looking like the team to beat in the East. They almost made me want to second-guess myself and pick them to come out of the East. And as we know, the Giants came in pretty bad. They had some injuries to their quarterback, Daniel Jones, and even when he was in the game, he could not hold on to the ball. Turnovers were a big problem for the New York Giant football team. They were on a 3-game losing streak going into the final game of the season, playing for their playoff lives. And the Giants won, everybody. The Giants won 23-19 and was now hoping for a Washington loss. Daniel Jones on the day, 17-25, 229 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. But the shining star of that game was a wide receiver by the name of Mr. Sterling Shepard, who brought in 8 receptions for 112 yards, 1 touchdown, and even contributed in the run game with 2 carries for 24 yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. Sterling Shepard had himself a game and is trying to set him up for a nice contract in the future. Hopefully the Giants can get healthy again, and once again become a force to be reckoned with within the NFC conference. And we look over at the Dallas Cowboys. We do know Andy Dalton was the backup behind Dak Prescott, who was unfortunately injured. I want to say in week 3 or week 4 when we saw his ankle snap in half, man. My thoughts and well wishes are still with Dak. I know he's going to come back stronger than ever. But Andy Dalton didn't have a bad game. Just wasn't a great game. He was 29-47 for 243 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Ezekiel Elliott, where I don't know where Zeke has gone, but somebody need to put out an APB for Zeke, because Zeke has disappeared since he got paid. 14 carries of the day for only 42 yards. He did have 1 rushing touchdown on the day, but the Giants were able to get the job done on the Dallas Cowboys. And then we look to our second game, and this game was for the marbles, because unlike Dallas or New York, who needed to also win, not only win their game, but also needed Washington to lose their game. Washington came in as a division leader against Philly, who had already mathematically been eliminated from a playoff berth. So Washington came in, only needed to take care of business on their end against Philly to not only claim a playoff berth, but to claim that NFC East division crown. And let me tell you what Washington did. Washington defeated Philly 20-14. Alex Smith had an okay game, 22 of 32, 162 yards in the air, 2 touchdowns. However, he did have 2 interceptions. Jalen Hurts, on the other hand, and before I get to Jalen Hurts, please keep in mind, Alex Smith, he received the start. I think he needed more time to heal. As you know, he's been nursing that bum ankle, and you can really tell when he, backs back and, into that QB drop, and he plants his foot to throw the ball. You can tell there are problems there. You can tell that he wants nobody near him. You can tell that he doesn't want anybody to come after them ankles. However, this is a physical game, and when you play in a physical game, sometimes people get hurt. However, Alex Smith was able to get the job done, helping the Washington football team defeat the Philadelphia Eagles 20-14. Jalen Hurts, however, had 17. He was 7 of 20 on the day with only 72 yards in the air, 0 touchdowns, 1 interceptions. However, he did have 8 carries for 34 yards with 2 rushing touchdowns. That's from your quarterback. Now, let me tell you about Philly, okay? Because Philly made a very, very, very questionable move. Now, I won't even say just one questionable move. First of all, during the week, they deactivated most of their star players. So players like Alshon Jeffrey didn't play. Players like Deshaun Jackson didn't play. Let's just be real and say for what it was. Philadelphia threw that game against Washington. I don't know what Doug Peterson was thinking. And in case you guys don't know, Doug Peterson is the coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, okay? And let me tell you what he did. Not only did he deactivate most of his star players, including his star receivers, he also took out Jalen Hurts in the 4th quarter for no apparent reason for Nate Sudfeld, who came in the game, went 5 of 12, 32 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Let me, guys, explain to you exactly who Nate Sudfeld is. I'm never going to say he's a nobody when it comes to football. He's been with the Philadelphia Eagles for 4 years. Mind you, Jalen Hurts is the backup quarterback behind, give it to him, Carson Wentz. And Nate Sudfeld is the backup for the backup. Now, according to Coach Doug Peterson, he said that Nate was a 4-year vet who he believed deserved a few touches before the end of the season for evaluation. What are you evaluating the backup of the backup for? If he's been there for 4 years and haven't played a game yet, I doubt that he's going to show you anything that's going to make him your starter for the future. Doug Peterson showed the reason why most people think that NFL or professional sports in general are rigged. He single-handedly gift-wrapped a victory for the Washington football team for them to capture the NFC East crown and to capture their playoff berth. Doug Peterson, who has shown that he's not a bad coach. I mean, let's remember, he was coaching the Philadelphia Eagles when backup Nick Foles made the miracle happen of defeating Tom Brady and the New England Patriots in a Super Bowl. He won the Super Bowl with a backup quarterback. So we're not going to act like Doug Peterson doesn't know how to coach this game. He's one of the great coaches in this league. But what he did on Sunday evening was an atrocity to the NFL. And he should not only lose his job with the Philadelphia Eagles, he should be fined by the NFL commission because what he did was pretty much snatch the playoff hopes and dreams for the New York football team. Shame on you, Doug Peterson. Shame on you for taking Jalen Hurts out of a game that he clearly, I think, had control of. Now, even though he was not having such a good game in the air, he did give you 2 rushing touchdowns. And the reason, in my opinion, that he did not have a good game on the field as far as in the air goes is because you set all his receivers. You had him playing with backups, 3rd string, 4th string receivers. And then even when he showed you he got into a little bit of a groove, you take him out and sit him for the entire 4th quarter for a quarterback I never heard of until I did this podcast. Shame on you, Doug Peterson. Shame on you. I'm not going to put the entire blame on the Philadelphia Eagles, but if I was that owner, you would have got fired as soon as the game was over with. Because that's not how the game is played. You took away the integrity of professional football. And you took away the integrity from the National Football League. Shame on you, Doug. Now, I know a lot of Giants fans, including myself, believe he threw the game and he allowed Washington to beat him. And a lot of problems need to get sorted out in Philadelphia for next year. They need to figure out who are they going to go with. Are they going to go with Carson Wentz or are they going to go with Jalen Hurts? They need to figure out, okay, if we're going to do that, we need to build an offensive line around Jalen Hurts that's going to protect him so that he can maximize his potential if he is indeed the starter. Because Jalen Hurts is better with his feet than he is with his arm. As for Washington, Washington football team, I want to congratulate you on your victory against the Philadelphia Eagles. I want to congratulate you on your playoff berth. I want to congratulate you on the NFC East crown. And how I'm going to congratulate you is I'm going to announce to you that next Saturday you will be playing Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Have fun. Enjoy. And I want to let you guys know there has been some trouble in Philly. But now, after evaluating the NBA for the first 7 games for the Brooklyn Nets, is there trouble in Brooklyn? Because if we look at what the Brooklyn Nets have done this year, they are 3-4. When you supposedly have, quote unquote, the best player in the world on your team. You have Kevin Durant on your team. You have probably one of the better ball handlers in the NBA, if not the best ball handler in the league, with an amazing layup package, I might add, and a Kyrie Irving. Yet you guys are 3-4. The teams that they've lost to the Hornets, the Grizzlies, the Hawks, and then Sunday night in Russell's Westbrook Revenge Tour, they lost to the Washington Wizards. On these 4 games, their opponents averaged 115 points. So we know where the trouble in Brooklyn is at. It's in their defense. But before we get to those defensive stats, there's also one other problem that the Brooklyn Nets have. That's that KD and Kyrie are able to go off. They're able to get theirs. But it seems like other players, not all, but some, are having trouble adjusting to the new 2 stars that are on their team. Most players are rhythm players, meaning they need touches to get in rhythm. But if you're going to have a ball hog like Kyrie, I'm sorry, Kyrie, I love you, but there's some times that I look at you like you should have gave that ball to KD. You have to remember, you have a 7-foot monster on your team. You have to feed the beast. And let's take a look at the numbers if you don't believe me. In the game that they lost against the Hornets, KD got his 29. Kyrie had his 25. Joe Harris pitched in with 13. Karis LeVert only had 10. Now, against the Grizzlies, I'm going to give them a pass just because KD and Kyrie did not play that game. As you know, they will be resting on back-to-backs. So if we look at what they did against, what they did against the Grizzlies, we saw Timothy Luau Cabarrot also known as TLC, had 21 points. LeVert, without KD and Kyrie on the floor, had 28. And Joe Harris pitched in with his normal 14. Now, if we go back and bring KD and Kyrie back into the lineup when they went against the Hawks, KD had 28, Kyrie had 18, had a horrible shooting night that game, and LeVert had 8 points. Are we starting to see the trend here? Karis LeVert averaged 19 points last year a game and had an amazing playoff stretch in last year's playoffs in the bubble. But since having KD and Kyrie on his team, he only seems to be able to get about 8 to 10 points a game, which I thought would be better for him coming off that bench, because if you let KD and Kyrie control the offense for the starters, Karis LeVert, in my opinion, should have the ultimate green light with that second unit. That should be who the offense is ran through. He has shown that he can score in bunches. He is an instant offense type of player. But that's not the Nets' only problem. The Nets are horrible defensively. Right now, when we started the season, they were up at number 1 or in the top 5. Since those 7 games have passed, the Nets have ranked 12th now in defensive efficiency. Opponents are averaging 48.6% from the field. So when an opponent comes to play the Brooklyn Nets, they are almost hitting half the shots that they throw up. That means that there is no defense being played. I mean, if we look at the game against the Hawks, 145 to 141, even though Brooklyn was able to pull that game out, there's no way. Even I know the Hawks are way better than they were last year, but there's no way that the Atlanta Hawks should have scored 141 points and you scored 145. That means, man, that was an all-star game. That means I probably could have came out there and put up 15. We look at the average points in the paint. 51.4 points are averaged in the paint against the Brooklyn Nets. Now, I'm really surprised at that statistic, considering the fact that you bought in a DeAndre Jordan, you kept a Jared Allen, you have a KD, who at one point in time during his last run with Golden State, or the year, that run before he injured his tore his Achilles, KD was actually in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year. So I want to know what happened to Kevin Durant where he is not playing any defense. I'm telling you guys right now, Brooklyn better get it together, because we do know that they lost Spencer Dinwiddie. They were projecting at first that he should be able to come back sometime during the regular season. Now, from what I'm understanding, they're projecting that he's probably going to miss the entire season with that ACL injury. And then, not to mention, I just read before I started this podcast, Kevin Durant is now going to be out for the next 4 games due to exposure, possible exposure to the COVID-19 virus. So now you're not gonna have KD for 7 games, and I'm gonna tell you right now, the Eastern Conference ain't that Eastern Conference we were used to. There are some great teams in the East right now. You look at the Orlando Magic right now, who's clicking on all cylinders. You look at the Atlanta Hawks, as I just mentioned. You still have the Celtics. You still have Milwaukee, and god damn, have you guys seen the Philadelphia 76ers with the addition of Steph Curry and Danny Green in that backcourt, opening the floor up for Ben Simmons where he can do his work and play point forward, and then have the big man, Joel Embiid, going to work? Right now, Philly looks like they're the team to beat in the East. Hopefully Brooklyn to get it together. I know they're going to make the playoffs, and maybe they can make some noise in the playoffs. But this formula that they have of not playing defense, it's not going to work for you. It's going to get you knocked out. And speaking of knocked out, we had a great boxing match this past Saturday, y'all. The undefeated sensation, Mr. Ryan Garcia, went against Luke Campbell for the WBC Interim Lightweight Championship. Now, everybody knows Ryan Garcia is undefeated. He came into that bout 20-0, 17 wins by way of knockout. Luke Campbell came into that match 20-4, 16 wins by way of knockout. So these are two studs that we saw in a boxing ring. And let me tell you, they put on a hell of a fight. No, the fight did not go to decision. I'm going to let you know what happened. Ryan Garcia got knocked down. Not going to say knocked out. Got knocked down. He got caught flush. That left caught him flush right in the chin. I don't think he saw it coming. He was trying to be a little overzealous. He was trying to be a little bit, he was too much on the attack. And Campbell caught him right with the left hook in the second round. And for the first time in his career, we saw Ryan Garcia get knocked down. But what he showed me that day is that he has heart. Ryan Garcia is more than just the next golden boy. He's more than the next Oscar De La Hoya. That boy got some dog in him. And I love to see that because he got up and he proceeded to take Luke Campbell to school. He was beating his ass. I mean, the flurry of punches that we seen from Ryan Garcia, he's quick with those combinations. And that left hook he has is deadly. So deadly that he was able to catch Luke Campbell in the 7th round with a left hook to the gut. The true definition of a gut check. And knocked him out. We saw Luke go down on one knee. And when that second knee hit the canvas, I knew that that fight was over with. Ryan Garcia, now your WBC interim lightweight champion. And we know what fight we want to see next. I know what fight you want to see next. I know what fight all boxing fans across America are waiting for. When are we going to get Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Tank Davis? The fights of the fight of the undefeateds. When are we going to see that matchup? Now, one thing I always have to say about boxers is you need to get what they say. You need to get the good going while the good. Wait, I can't even think of the saying right now. But what I'm saying is we need to see the matches that the people want. Now, I know, I give credit to Mayweather for being a fighter that chose fights on his own accord. He chose fights when they benefited him. He didn't fight De La Hoya in his prime. He didn't fight Manny Pacquiao in his prime. And he fought Canelo Alvarez before he got to his prime. So I will give Mayweather that on being a smart fighter. But that only works for Mayweather because he was undefeated. You young boys, y'all young. You need to be taking every fight you can right now and giving the people what they want so that way you can receive these massive paydays. See, what a lot of people don't realize is when Mayweather was young, he was fighting everybody and he was knocking people out. It wasn't until he got older and started having those problems with his hands where his punching power wasn't as strong as it had been in days past. But I want to see Gervonta and Ryan Garcia fight in their prime. Let's make it happen, y'all. Not Paul Heyman, but Floyd Mayweather, Heyman. You guys need to make these things happen. Come to an Oscar De La Hoya. Come to an agreement. Put these two men in the ring and let's watch the magic happen. I will be tuning in live to that fight when we see Ryan Garcia versus Tank Davis. Mark it on your calendars. Hopefully it's coming soon. Let the people know what you want. And then we're going to go right back into the NFL. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys some predictions on the NFL wild card playoffs. Because we're going to have 3 games on Saturday. We're going to have 3 games on Sunday. So I'm going to start off with the Saturday games. We're going to go over the matchups. We're going to go over the possible ending scores, and I'm going to tell you who my winners are going to be. If we look at the first game, we're going to have the Colts versus the Bills. And the Bills, congratulations on being the AFC East champions. With the Colts, we're going to see that dynamic of Phillip Rivers and T.Y. Hilton versus the Bills, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. Not to mention, I believe Stephon Diggs has been probably one of the top 5 receivers this year in the NFL. He has made a statement. The Bills has made a statement. And because of that statement that they've made all year, I'm picking the Bills to win 23-16. If we look at the Rams versus the Seahawks, congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks on being your NFC West champions. We're going to enjoy this NFC West matchup because the Rams are in that same division. There's still a lot of concerns about Jared Goff and whether the surgery he had on his thumb will be healed in time, or at least uh, healed enough where he can play in this game. Because, hey, I'm going to just keep it real with you. In sports, if I know you have an injury, if I know you're suffering a calf injury, don't be surprised if you feel a couple feet on your calf. It's just how sports are. Going to look for any advantage. Going to look for any way to get the one up on you. And that thumb, they will be looking to swat balls and to be swinging their fists and waving their arms towards your hands, Jared Goff. So I hope you come in there healthy enough and ready to go. But the Seahawks still have a lot of questions as well. We look at that offensive line. Cannot protect Russell Wilson. As I mentioned before, he probably goes to sleep dreaming about defenders coming at him. Luckily, he has the speed to get out of that pocket and to buy enough time to make some very accurate throws. And then we look, they split the two games that they had during the regular season. Seahawks winning the first game 24-14. And then, no, I'm sorry. Seahawks won that. Yeah, Seahawks won that game 24-14 against when they beat the Rams, and then in that other game, the Rams came and they went through a thing on the Seahawks. So in this matchup, I'm actually gonna have the Seahawks winning 24-14 that day against the Los Angeles Rams. Had to think about that for a minute. I'm so used to calling them St. Louis. I remember those Greatest Show on Turf days when they had Kurt Warner and Marshall Faulk. So excuse me, you guys, the Los Angeles Rams. And then we're going to have Tampa Bay versus Washington. Washington, as you know, are your NFC East champions. Congratulations, Washington, even though you won that game by the hairs of Doug Peterson, chinny chin chin, if you understand what I'm saying. But Tom Brady is clicking right now with his receivers. I would not want to see Tom Brady right now in the last 3 games. TB has truly equaled TDs because he has thrown 10 touchdowns and only 1 interception. And the 1 interception he threw really wasn't his fault. Scotty Miller had the ball, but it popped up out of his arm and the defender was able to snag it right out of the air. Washington has no offense, and and Tom Brady's offense will just be too much for this up-and-coming young defense. Even though Washington front 7, they have a great front 7. If they don't hit Tom Brady with the weapons he have on that outside, and Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, it's going to be too much for that Washington football team. I got Tampa Bay winning 38-10. And then, excuse me, you guys, that was my prediction for the Seahawks versus Rams, 24-14. I didn't write down the scores of the 2 games that they split. So before anybody want to fact check me on that, I'll make up for my own mistake. I appreciate you. And then we're going to look at Sunday's games. We got the Ravens versus the Titans. Titans has claimed the AFC South Division title. Congratulations to them. Lamar Jackson on the year. What more can we say? He's had over 1,000 rushing yards, 26 touchdowns in the air, 9 interceptions, 2,757 passing yards on the year. But they will be going up against a beast and an possible MVP candidate, Mr. Derrick Henry, who has rushed for over 2,000 yards and bringing in 17 touchdowns himself. And we know that that man cannot be stopped once he gets going. Juggernaut, that is the juggernaut. And when he picks up that momentum, I advise everybody to get the hell out the way. We've seen some of the stiff arms that man have thrown this year. However, I believe that the Ravens, when they played Tennessee for some reason, I think they have their number. And I think that the Ravens will win against Tennessee 24-21 in a very, very close matchup. Then we have my woeful Chicago Bears, who couldn't even do the one job that they had to do which was beat the Green Bay Packers. Now, I know asking the Bears to beat the Packers was damn near impossible. In the words of Stephen A. Smith, Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. And he had that other bad man clicking on all cylinders in Devontae Adams. So I knew that the Bears were not going to be able to score enough to compete against the Green Bay Packers. However, against the Saints, when we played them back in week 8, we only lost by 3 points in overtime. So I don't know if maybe that defense has Drew Brees' number, but I do know that Drew Brees is one of the best quarterbacks to ever do it. He's right now sitting at second place for the most touchdown passes in NFL history. And I know he's still recovering from 11 cracked ribs and some injured lungs. However, Alvin Kamara will be back. And we know Alvin Kamara for the New Orleans Saints is old, reliable. He's going to play the game the right way. He's going to get his touches. He's going to get you touchdowns. And he is not going to throw away the game. Now, we know that the Bears are a team that have problem with the red zone, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And Drew Brees is a quarterback that will score on you from any part of that field. And I know we will see Mitchell Trubisky. He didn't play in that first game against New Orleans, I don't think. Well, that's when Nick Foles was taking over the helm. But now Mitchell Trubisky has taken back the reins and is now running the offense again in Chicago. But even with that being said, I got the Saints winning 27-13. Don't think the Bears can score enough. Don't think the defense can stop anybody at all. Hell, if the defense was medicine and you needed to stop a cold, you might have COVID. And then we look at the last game, which is going to feature the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Cleveland Browns. It's probably one of the hotter teams in the league. Baker Mayfield on the year, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 72.4% QBR rating, which is the best of his young career. Browns haven't seen the playoffs since 2007, so you know there is some hype in the dog pound. Now, in the first meeting, the Steelers destroyed Cleveland 38-7. However, in the last game of the season, the Browns were able to beat the Steelers to claim a playoff berth 24-22. Excuse me. However, Big Ben did not play in this game. Big Ben is a 2-time champion, and he has proven himself to win the big games when necessary. So I will not be a betting man and put my money on the Cleveland Browns against the Steelers. I got the Steelers winning in the shootout, 35-28. Pittsburgh Steelers. And as we wind down on the last of this show, I told y'all I had a new segment for you guys. Did anybody see what Mr. Wardell Steph Curry did to the Portland Trail Blazers? If you ever watched Dragon Ball Z, my mans went Super Saiyan. My mans went Super Saiyan God on them. Steph Curry went nuclear on the Portland Trail Blazers. Steph had 62 points. But let me tell you how he scored his 62 points. 18-31 from the field, 8 of 16 from the three-point line. That's 50%, ladies and gentlemen. And he scored 30 points in both halves. 18-19 from the free throw line, and he did all of this damage in 36 minutes. Let that sink in. 36 minutes, this man scored 62 points by himself and got the dub. Now, I know he heard them rumors. He heard that chatter. Steph don't have it anymore. Oh, now we get to see what Steph is made of now that Clay is hurt and there's no more KD. Oh, Dame Dollar is the best point guard in the NBA. He can murder Steph. Steph been killing Dame Dollar every time I see the Warriors play the Trail Blazers. Wrong. Steph Curry is a 2-time MVP, with one of those being unanimous, and a 3-time NBA champion. We even seen what he did in his unanimous year where he won the MVP when he had 54 against the Pelicans. Steph Curry, that boy cold. Because if he continues this hot streak, as we know he can, we did just see the man hit 105 threes in a row. I know people that can't hit 5 threes in a row out of 10 shots, let alone 105 in a row. Steph Curry, that boy cold. I sat back and enjoyed that show, and I can't wait for the next one because I know Steph ain't done yet. This man has the ability to go nuclear at any time and is one of the best shooters we've ever seen to grace the presence of the NBA. Again, I say, that boy cold. Now, I haven't had any of you guys reach out to me in my comments or anything, letting me know whether or not you wanted me to continue my wrestling segments. However, this will be the conclusion of my show. I appreciate all of you guys, again, for the support, the kind words, telling me to keep going. I am going to keep going because this right here is what I love to do, and I'm going to make that man proud. Secret Santa got me the Mamba Mentality book. Can't wait to give that a read, to change my mindset, to bring more elevation to my life, because that should be the goal for all of us. It should be to elevate, to continue to work and strive and grind even when we think our work is not going anywhere, because somewhere somebody like it. And I appreciate everybody. I hope you guys have a prosperous 2021. I got nothing but love for you. We're going to continue working. We're going to continue being great. But you guys already know the slogan. We gone.